So one of my favorite things now about the real estate industry is getting to work with people I love. And of course I wanted to do a video with you, Suzanne, because I've known you since I was 2.
Oh my gosh, I think so.
We were neighbors growing
Right.
up, and so you saw me and my brothers wreak havoc all over the neighborhood. I recently saw an open house on our old street, and I thought,
Cutting Horse, yeah, it was the house that I lived in.
I was like, should I live here, or is that too weird? Maybe it's too weird.
Oh, well, Shivani, I have this admiration for you and your brothers after watching you grow up for, I don't know, how many years, 30 years probably. And this admiration for you, Neil, Arjun, and I am very honored to be doing this with you today.
Yay! So what I wanted to ask you is, I often am explaining closing costs to people, which it brings me to explain lenders or title insurance. So lender's title insurance and owner's title insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm explaining the cost to them and breaking it down so that they can know their total cash to close. But I'm not really the best person to be explaining what those two policies are and how they're
Right.
different from each other. So could you simply explain it for us?
So title insurance, interestingly enough, always seems to be the one that people nitpick the most, the premiums, right? So what is customary in Washoe County is the seller pays the premium for the owner's policy, which is the sales price, okay? If a buyer paid all cash, the buyer wouldn't have a premium for title insurance. But if they get a loan, the lender requires a title policy as well. And so that is the buyer's expense based on the loan amount.
The lender's title insurance.
Yes.
Why do you need both policies?
Well, first of all, personally, I would never close an escrow without title insurance. The buyer has to have clear title no
Right.
matter what. So the seller pays for that premium. And the title insurance that the buyer gets, the owner's policy, gives them exactly that, clear
Coverage.
title. Everything passed up until the day that is the escrow records. So, but if the buyer gets a loan,
They also have to get lender's title insurance.
well, the lender requires that they have a title policy. And so that premium falls on the responsibility of the buyer.
And so when you get your owner's title policy, you have an escrow and title company that's handling making sure that you're getting a clear title.
Correct.
That title coverage covers that transfer, right? So if there was ever anything that came up about the boundaries of your home or any liens from the previous seller,
Correct.
your title insurance would cover you to say that this is your title to your home. Any debts occurred only after the date you purchased are you liable for.
Correct. And that's hence where the extended title coverage comes
So
in.
this is now we're going to talk about the optional coverage you could choose to get
Right.
in addition to what the seller's getting for you.
That's the big hubbub. It's I think that we're trying to educate agents and lenders why buyers should have it.
Right.
So we issue title insurance. The title insurance gives the buyer clear title up until the day of recording. The extended policy gives the buyer coverage for things that could happen in the future.
Oh.
Okay? So what we're running into, First Centennial gives this kind of, generic pros and cons of what the extended coverage entails. But we're realizing that we are able to give that coverage covers much more than what we actually have on the sheet. So to give you an example, the biggest claims seem to be CC&R violations and building permits. We had a situation where a realtor didn't have a buyer do a roof inspection and did not get the extended policy. So the buyer gets in and has problems with the roof and finds out that the roof was never permitted. The extended title coverage would have helped with that.
Covered them.
Yeah, and it's a one-time fee.
It's not very much.
No, it's based on the sales price, 10% of base rate A, if you know the title lingo. And it typically it's maybe $180, $200 on the typical sale.
So on the biggest investment you're making, which is your home, very large
Right.
purchase for a lot of people, maybe the $200 is probably just worth it, just in case.
And what's the saying? If it's a one-time fee, inexpensive insurance can really save you in the long run.
So I had recently asked a real estate attorney the same question and said,
Oh.
should people be getting that extended coverage the title companies offer? And he said, why would you not get it? Like what in what scenario would having extra coverage for, same as what you just said, a minimal cost, not make sense?
I am so happy to hear that.
He was totally behind it. He said I've seen multiple cases where I got involved because somebody didn't have the extended coverage,
Right.
and I maybe wouldn't have even needed to be called if they had purchased it.
CC&R violations. I mean, it could be a whole discussion. I mean, we as a title group have had, big meetings about it, and Lisa Quillisi, who is our title officer extraordinaire here at First Centennial, gives a beautiful script on it. But I think the agents are starting to realize that why not? There was this kind of car salesman type of
Oh yeah, we'd be sitting in the signing and the agent's looking at the bar, we're shaking our head
exactly.
no, we don't need that.
Like, you don't need that, and it's just ignorance now.
Everybody should get it.
Exactly.
Is there any scenario you think where it's not needed? Like if I'm buying a brand new construction, Toll Brothers or Lennar
That's a good
home,
question.
do I still need it?
Absolutely. Well, do you need it? I would still get it. I mean, clearly, we're not going to try and sell anybody something that they don't need. I mean, you're in a brand new subdivision. Everything's been approved by the county. Maybe not. I don't know. I think it would be personally, but you just don't know what's going to happen in the future, so.
It still makes sense, I think.
I think so too, Shivani.
Okay. Thanks so much for explaining.
Thanks, Shivani.